Hello and welcome to Sports Today. As you guys have seen over the last few days, months, weeks, we have tried to define agenda and get you the best. Get you the best analysis, get you the best news, get you the best people from across the world. And here is someone who I've loved listening to. Every morning, 5 a.m., she would start the broadcast from Australia on Fox. And there, that combination with Shane Warne and Adam Gilchrist and Alan Border, and you would want the Indians to do well. And she was there ringside watching the turnaround. And, just think about it. Think about it from her perspective, becoming the voice as the presenter, flying from England to Australia, doing it as part of her career as a broadcaster after very illustrious career as a cricketer. Well done. Many congratulations, Isha Guha. You've become a household voice in many ways, and that is terrific to see. So welcome. We would love your analysis today. And there comes Pragyan as well. Pragyan, where are you? Yeah, you're in
Hello, everyone.
some hotel or some bloody Darwaza or wherever, some Mughal place, it seems to me. Anyway,
No.
that's
I'm at a friend's place for the New Year's, obviously.
okay. Great. Isha, first thoughts. You were there ringside. Rajarshi, welcome. Pragyan, welcome. You were there ringside. 36 all out. You interviewed Virat. When I was listening to your questions and you wished him for his, birth of his child, all of that, and I could understand that, okay, the mood is somber and tad disappointed, but then that miracle. So from your perspective as a broadcaster, the highs and the lows, you've seen two incredible test matches. Thoughts?
Firstly, thank you, Boria. Thank you for having me on, and what a pleasure. Thank you very much for the introduction as well. Yes, very fortunate to do what I do and to still work cricket in some capacity after playing, and to be part of the Fox team is literally a dream. To be able to sit next to Shane Warne, Adam Gilchrist, Alan Border is something very, very special. So I'm really, really happy to be here, feel very fortunate and grateful, and what a test series is unfolding before us as well. A remarkable turnaround at the MCG on Boxing Day. Ajinkya Rahane as the standing captain. If there was anyone who could try and calm the dressing room and make sure that they didn't panic after the devastation of Adelaide, it was going to be him. With Virat Kohli going home, obviously a big loss to the team. To lose Mohammad Shami as well, who is such an important and crucial bowler within this test lineup. I think they just came together incredibly well. And that was led by, obviously, Ajinkya Rahane. But also I noticed Ashwin becoming a lot more vocal, and Jasprit Bumrah as a leader of the bowling attack to be able to help Mohammad Siraj through his debut, who ended up bowling in perfectly for that wicket, to be able to create pressure and continue to dominate in terms of the bowling attack in Australia. That was fantastic. Shubman Gill at the top of the order as well. It wasn't just him making his debut on Boxing Day. It was the moments and the times he was out in the middle. When you think back to when he first strode out to the crease, playing in his very first test match, he's up against the likes of Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins, with a new ball and trying to survive to the end of the day. For him to play the way he did with that, I guess, class, but also the fact that he just looked like nothing was phasing him, I think was a tremendous, tremendous moment for him. And then to be able to finish off the job in that second innings as well. Two incredible debuts, but I thought in general, the team just came together incredibly well.
Super. Pragyan, before I go back to Isha, you and Rajarshi now. From what we hear, let's break this on Sports Today. One, Umesh Yadav is coming back, so I wish him a speedy recovery. He's out of the series, not simply from the third test, he's out of the series. So we will probably have him back for England now. He's got to come and do rehab, get well, play some domestic cricket, and then come back. That's news number one. But more importantly, Pragyan, your thoughts from what we know, and let's break this on Sports Today. It's Shardul Thakur who is most likely to replace Umesh Yadav in the Indian team for Sydney. Final call after the team reaches Sydney, but it's Shardul Thakur. Domestic cricket experience, domestic cricket performance, seniority, also no muck with the bat. all of these things, plus his ability to swing the ball, what I am told, Shardul Thakur is the front runner. Pragyan Ojha, thoughts?
Uh, First of all, I'd like to wish everyone in advance a very happy new year. Saying that, I think it's a brilliant thing to have Shardul Thakur. I hope all of us remember what happened to him when he made his Test debut. First I think first couple of balls, then he was injured, and then he went back. I think his hard work is paying off. Now that he's done well in domestic cricket. The most important thing is, a cricketer getting reward for his domestic performance, consistent performance. And I'm really with this decision. If he makes it, that will be brilliant. But also a fairy tale for Natarajan. I think he's going to be part of that team. If I'm not wrong, he's going to be backup bowler there.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Shardul Thakur, he thoroughly deserves it to be in that team, because one, he missed out because of the injury, and the other thing, super domestic cricketer, been performing for Mumbai over so many years. I think it's time that he gets his dues.
Okay, Rajarshi, Pragyan has given you a lovely backdrop there. Look at him. I mean, he's in some Mughal fortress, it seems to me. Before we go back to Isha, two questions. One, uh, about the commentary that you are listening to. I mean, we have co-opted Isha Guha as an Indian in that commentary box, okay, to take on Shane Warne, Alan Border, and Adam Gilchrist. Shane Warne's one line, when Umesh Yadav got hit by that bouncer short ball, he was like, "Don't show pain, Aussie, we are bad people." And I was like, "Isha, come on." So your thoughts on that commentary panel, and I love listening to Isha Guha. I'm making no qualms about it. So thoughts on that, because lovely commentary enriches the morning, it makes the game come alive, right? So thoughts on that. Number two, Shardul Thakur, what Pragyan Ojha just said. I thought he deserves a place, and it's important that you reward domestic cricket performances. Quickly, yeah.
Absolutely. So, welcome to the show, Isha. Listen, Boria, you put it so lucidly, Isha's commentary stint and perspective. If I may go so far back as to, talk about when you listen to commentary in Australia, Twitch on the television early on in India, listen to Bill Lawry over the years, Mark Taylor, Shane Warne. I hope Isha reaches that level of cultum, because it's such a pleasure listening to her on commentary, listening to her taking on the Australian legends and holding her own. We in India, like you said, we consider Isha to be one of our own, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to listen to Isha and talk about the game as lucidly as she does, having played at the highest level. So it's an absolute pleasure having her on the commentary box. As for Shardul Thakur, Boria, yes, it is very important to look at what you just said, right? What does he bring to the table? He's already in Australia. He was on as backup fielder in Melbourne for a while. So you have to look at that in perspective. No monk with the bat, and his ability to swing the ball, and that is what speaks volumes about Indian pace bowling as well. You have five key players missing. Rohit Sharma is obviously back for Sydney, and then you were dealt a blow. Ishant Sharma didn't travel. You have Mohammad Shami ruled out after the first test. Umesh Yadav ruled out after the second test. And you're still talking of a very, very potent pace attack. There is Shardul Thakur, like you said, is the front runner. T. Natarajan as backup. It is still a very, very mean bowling attack. And that says a lot about the Indian pace attack overall as a package.
Okay. Isha, coming to you, there are certain things we miss out on TV, obviously because of ad breaks and commercial breaks and stuff. That's why we called it ringside. Can you give us a sense of what changed in the body language and what you've seen over the two test matches? I mean, what did you see that we did not see? What was it that Ajinkya Rahane brought to the table that wasn't sort of in the 6 ball over that was being shown to us?
I think, first of all, to be able to have crowds for both test matches was fantastic. At Adelaide and then at the MCG, I took myself away for a couple of stints, and I really just got myself out there when Mitchell Starc had the ball in his hand and he was steaming in, and you could hear the crowd behind him. And then all of a sudden, as he bowls, it's complete silence. The batter plays the ball, and then it erupts again. So just that kind of buzz and atmosphere around what is the theatre of Test cricket was fantastic to be able to be part of, because I obviously worked in a whole summer of cricket in the UK with no crowds whatsoever. And I think that has a huge impact on the players, actually, to be able to actually hear real people in the stands supporting them, I think was really crucial and vital. And I think when you talk about Ajinkya Rahane, he has a quiet air of confidence about him. He has been successful many times in the past, but perhaps he hasn't performed as well as he would have liked in the last few years. So to be able to lead in the way he did, particularly with his performance, it was incredibly measured. It wasn't like his previous century at the G, where he scored with a really high strike rate. He was way more disciplined. He left the ball outside the off stump. He has a tendency sometimes to flirt outside the off stump, but he just gave himself time, and then eventually when the ball was there to be hit, he hit it. And I think from his point of view, it was about occupying the crease, and the longer he stayed out there, the harder it was always going to become for the Australians. There were some really difficult moments in there. Obviously, he had some fortune as well, but I thought, some of the shots we saw were just incredibly classy, and it embodies the man. Virat Kohli leads in his way. Rahane leads, I guess, in his own way through his character, which is a little bit more quiet and reserved. He was delegating to the rest of the team, and really, I think that the group I got the vibe that it was a galvanized group, because Virat Kohli wasn't there, and they knew they needed to put out something special to be able to beat Australia, and you can only do that as a team. So I think it was a wonderful performance. You could just sense every time they went out onto the field, it felt like a real togetherness. And what else? I mean, the other different thing from our point of view as broadcasters is because of everything that's happened.
I think we've lost the connection
they were in commentary in Sydney. So they had live pictures on their screen, and they were they could see us in commentary, and that's how that worked. And I thought that actually worked really well. You couldn't tell that they weren't in the same city. And then we had Harsha coming in, and he was on a mobile phone, so we could kind of see him. But that was a lot more difficult because he was on a bit of a delay. So at times, he perhaps didn't realise the bowler was about to bowl. And it's a lot harder to get those disciplines when there is a bit of a delay. Also, a couple of times I kind of missed what he said, and so that maybe made it a little bit more difficult and maybe sounded a bit disjointed. But all in all, I think it was just so important to get Harsha's views because he's seen so much cricket. He is the voice of Indian cricket, and I think it was important to get that balance on commentary. So but all in all, a fabulous test match, and you could just feel the tension at different times. Australia obviously under the pump, and just a fabulous contest to watch.
Okay. Pragyan, two things. One, yes, absolutely. I mean, to have an Indian perspective with Harsha. Harsha has been an illustrious commentator, someone all of us have listened to over the last 30 odd years, from that South Africa first test where a neutral umpire, Cyril Mitchley, gave Sachin Tendulkar run out, right? Jonty Rhodes through, and Harsha was on commentary. I was growing up and listening to Harsha, dear friend. So yes. Number two, what she just said about Ajinkya getting the team together. Pragyan, many questions why Shardul Thakur might be preferred above Navdeep Saini. So your thoughts on Shardul Thakur versus Navdeep Saini, and would you approve of the change for Shardul Thakur in, or maybe above Navdeep Saini? Question number one. Question number two, Rohit Sharma out there as the only Indian guy to practice today, Pragyan. From the video that we have seen, he looked leaner and fitter. Yesterday, when he joined the team, Ravi Shastri said, you're looking younger. He looked leaner and fitter. As you know, we've been in touch every day, Rohit and me. He is desperate there now to prove a point. Make the most of this. I mean, he wants to be out there for India. So your thoughts today, it's only him, the three throwdown guys, and the batting coach. Rest of the boys are on holiday for 2 days, but Rohit Sharma out there training. So both questions for you.
Yeah, first of all, Shardul, I think what I believe is he's a swing bowler. And if you look at Bumrah, you look at Siraj, and if you look at Umesh was playing. Unfortunately, Umesh is a swing bowler, and these two guys are hit the deck kind of a bowler. Their ball moves off the wicket, the lateral movement. But if you talk about Shardul, his strength is swinging the ball. That's what we were speaking when we spoke about him during the ODI. That's when you need someone who can swing the ball. So his strength is to swing the ball. And if you talk about Saini, he is also similar to Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj. They like to hit the ball off the deck. They get everything. But this guy, he moves the ball in the air. So I think maybe they will prefer Shardul because of that, because he gets that natural variation. And I'm quite confident he'll do well because he's been performing in domestic cricket and he's done well in whatever chances he's got in the limited over format. Um, and if you look at Rohit, I think yes, he needs a lot of practice now because he had a 14 days quarantine. He was in the room, so he has to, get used to the conditions there. I think it's the best way. Go out there and practice. And yes, as we were discussing, whatever you said that at NCA they made sure that Rohit was training harder because during the IPL and before that we had this lockdown, so maybe he had put on little bit of weight, so they wanted him to reduce that. And maybe when we have not played for so long, we are seeing a lot of injuries this season. So maybe because of that, they wanted him to be totally match fit, so that there is no problem for the Indian team, because we have already lost so many players. So I think they at NCA everybody's focus was to get Rohit ready so that he doesn't have any injury on the field.
Isha, there's a question for you before I go back to Rajarshi. In fact, many people are asking that Ashwin has outbowled Nathan Lyon and has been one of the stars for India. So your thoughts on that, and any discussion with Shane on how Ashwin has bowled this series, got the measure of Steve Smith, and has even kept the Australians quiet. So your thoughts on Ravi Ashwin this particular series?
I think he's been outstanding. There's been a lot of talk about him playing away from the subcontinent and his averages in Australia. This is his fourth time on Australian soil playing in test matches, and you can see that he has learned every single time he's come here. I think everyone knows he's a student of the game, and what I've seen from him in these two test matches so far, he's come with a plan, and so have India, actually. Meticulous planning of every single batter that they're up against. Ashwin is taking the ball. He knows exactly what field he wants to set to each player, and he has an awareness of how the pitch is changing as well. When you look at him bowling on day one of the MCG test, he was getting a lot more turn. He's using his pace really well as well. He's bowling a really sort of tight line, and then on the third day, he was getting a lot more drift. Yes, it was kind of blustery, windy conditions, but he adapted to that beautifully. And I think his plans have come off, which is fantastic. And he's been a huge threat. I think a lot of people, or a lot of Australians anyway, after that first test, said that maybe it was a little bit not necessarily fluky, but it was Australians' soft dismissals rather than Ashwin's brilliant bowling. And I think what he proved at the Boxing Day test was that he can back it up, and he is a very smart bowler. I think on this tour so far, Ashwin and Bumrah have been the best bowlers, supplemented by those around them. But to be able to keep that pressure on Australia, I think, is so important. I think what we might see in this next test match is Australia showing a bit more intent against him. They haven't left their crease too much. They haven't looked to target him down the ground. And that's, again, testament to him. It's been a real tussle in the middle that he has allowed them to come down to him. He's bowling in good areas all the time. He's incredibly accurate. and he's super smart. I mean, you just look at that last delivery that he bowled, which was the Karen ball. The amount of turn he got off the pitch with it, it's been incredible to watch. Two very different bowlers. Ashwin has way more deliveries in his armory. Nathan Lyon banks on bowling that tight line and length. He gets that overspin, the extra bounce, and that has been successful for him in the past. But yeah, Ashwin at the moment is he's been the best spinner of the tour.
Rajarshi, if I can come to you on that, on the Ashwin point a little bit more, and Pragyan, obviously our champion, as who's someone who's played with Ashwin and been part of that. Does Ashwin's body language as a journalist look to you to be that much more positive, Rajarshi? That he is in a zone, way more confident of his ability. Even when the others are bowling, he's speaking to Bumrah, speaking to Siraj, giving them that much more confidence as part of the leadership group.
Absolutely, Boria, because when you look at Ashwin, the bowler at home, and when you've seen him overseas, look, there are two things to factor in here as well, right? And both Pragyan and Isha and yourself would bear out with me on this, is that when, no matter how good a spinner you are, it takes you years and years of hard work and resilience, even after that, to go and do well away from home. You look at his Australia tours gradually. You look at them back from 2012, how his average has improved gradually, and this time he's clearly having the best Australia tour of his life. 10 wickets from 2 Test matches, and he is now. It looks like from the outside, he looks like he started to believe that he's a core member of the leadership group. Again, Pragyan had pointed out that he's not looking to take wickets every time. He's there, knows his skills and knows his skill sets so well. So that for me has been the most striking feature, not just of the Australian tour, but I think over the last year or so when you've seen him play Test cricket, that he's now confident of his role in the leadership group and the way he's molding his bowlers around him. So that is a massive plus point for me.
Pragyan, you take the Ashwin point and also tell me about this Ashwin-Jaddu pairing. From what I know, India wants to continue with it. I spoke to a couple of leading legends of Indian cricket, and both said to me over the last 2-3 days that every time you can, you go with them together. Even Saurav went in Headingley in 2002, if you remember, under complete green top with Anil Bhai and Baju. So India, two quality spinners, wherever you can play them, you play them together. Your thoughts on this spin twin, as you can call them, Jadeja and Ashwin, and also Ashwin?
Yes, Ashwin, what I feel is now he knows exactly what he has to do. He's not a rookie anymore. So he's been to Australia. I've said this, and now he doesn't have to play for his spot. That is the most important thing for a player. Once you don't have the fear of, if you don't perform, you will be out of the team. Then I think your body language changes. Then, you have that little bit of cushion to do certain things. That's what I feel as a bowler. If you see someone who's playing his first game and a guy who's playing his 10th or 12th game, there will be a change in the body language. There will be a change in the confidence. So I think that's what is making a lot of difference with Ashwin and that leadership role that he's playing now. He feels as if on field he's the bowling captain. So I think these responsibilities really, it's helping him enhance his performance. And about his bowling and his planning, he was always spot on. A guy who's picked up almost 375 wickets, Test wickets. So I think he should be a good planner. But only difference what I see is mentally, he's there. He thinks that it is he who has to do well for his team, and he's the leader of the pack, the bowling unit. So that's the difference that I see Ashwin this time. And he's not worried about the alien conditions in Australia, because normally when you're traveling to Australia as a rookie, you don't know as a spinner how the wicket is going to behave, how the kookaburra ball is going to help you, how much it is going to help you, and if the seam, slowly that goes in and you don't have anything to grip, how do you bowl? These are the things, these questions, they give you a little bit of uncertainty. But now I think he's gone past that, and he knows that, whatever the situation is, he will deliver. I think this is helping him out big time. And if you talk about Jaddu and Ashwin, yes, and what better than playing in Sydney? Sydney has a track record of helping the spinners. So I think I'm very sure, I think we should not be changing this combination. Jadeja, the way he batted, Ashwin, we know he can bat, and these two guys have been phenomenal with the bowling. One guy bowls tight, the other one picks up wicket, and if the other one is bowling tight, this guy picks up the wicket. So I think the partnership is brilliant, and if they can continue this overseas, that will be superb. We have seen Anil Bhai and Bhajupa doing that for us. Now, if these two guys do overseas, I think nothing more to ask for.
Isha, if I can come to you, several questions for you saying, please ask about Shubman Gill. Please ask about Shubman Gill. You know, that's one question you've got to take. Tell me about Shubman Gill. The second one is slightly more complicated and a more critical one. We have yet again broken on sports today, and frankly, we take our women's cricket with equal seriousness. Always will. We've got a commitment to the women's game, and we will push the BCCI as and when we need to. If there is anything that we sense that it's not going right as far as the women's game is concerned. We had said this after our conversations with the BCCI top brass, that the Australia tour would be rescheduled to later part of 21 ahead of the World Cup. Like the planning was that the Indian team will go play ODIs, play T20s, and then go into the World Cup. That's what has been formalized by Nick Hockley today. So your thoughts on we need to consolidate, because 2 or 3 of your tweets that said to me, I was here on the final of that, on 8th of March, my birthday, 80,000, 87,000 people, and coming back to the G. So you tweeted that 3-4 times. But thoughts on the Indian women's game? They're missing out on the Australia tour now. But from what I understand, this tour will happen with more games. So there was only ODIs scheduled. Now there will be ODIs and T20s later part of 21. Second point, India will probably play test cricket. That's what I get from Saurav Ganguly. Indian women will play test cricket in 21 if the Apex Council of the BCCI approves it, because they think that if Australia and England can, so should India. So your thoughts on Gill and on women's cricket?
Shubman Gill, exciting talent, deserves his opportunity. You can tell almost straight away that he's going to be playing for India for a long, long time. Just so much time at the crease, not phased by anything. He's got a guy bowling at 145 kilometers an hour, and he's happy to let it go. He's happy to defend when he needs to. With the new ball an hour before the end of play in one of the most pressurized situations, he just looked really comfortable out there. He was playing the short ball well, and that is what you're always going to be tested with when you're playing in the first test match. Well, anyone going to Australia, you're always going to be tested by the short ball and the quick stuff and the hostile stuff. He passed it with flying colours. So really, really exciting talent. Excited to see how he progresses. On women's cricket, we are in a really good place at the moment. Certainly the T20 World Cup final at the G highlighted that, with 80,000 people turning up. I think it was a tremendous moment for women's cricket, and it shows where the game has got to. But I think we cannot stand still. I think it's really important that the girls don't get left behind during the pandemic. And the UCB, fair play to them, they were able to get the West Indies over to play some matches against the England women, which I think was really important, just to show that they weren't getting left behind. Similarly, I think, yes, this is disappointing because India or Australia, it's one of the greatest contests in world cricket. I think the girls would have loved to have played over here. But for me, it's a case of, I hope they're getting the cricket that they want in the year. I hope that that they're not being looked at as an afterthought, and I don't think they are. I think it's just really important that there is a focus on playing more cricket. I think the girls professionally, in the last 5-6 years, they've gone to another level. They have more time to be able to train, but I think what the girls would like to see, and what I would like to see as well, is just more international matches against the best in the world. So England, India, New Zealand, Australia, all playing each other a lot more. South Africa, West Indies, because that will help the game go to another level. It's different for the men's game. The men want to play less, the women want to play more at the moment. But great to see games happening in the IPL, the Women's Challenge tournament, and hopefully that will happen again in April, May this year. But yeah, I know that people are looking at it, and it is really important. And I'm so excited about India wanting to play Test cricket, because for me that was the best format to play, and the fact that that has disappeared pretty much in the last 2 or 3 years has been pretty. It's hurt quite a lot on a personal level, and I'm sure a lot of girls around the world that they're not playing as much Test cricket, but they should, because they've got more time to play now. So yeah, really pleased about that.
Pragyan, my time is almost up. So quickly from you before I go to Rajarshi and close it. Similarly, I'm quite upbeat about the women's game based on my conversations with the board. Your thoughts on 21? Finally, this strange 2020 is coming to an end. It's been a gloomy year. After Adelaide, I thought even cricket is causing us more gloom and sadness. But then with that MCG turnaround, for me, that is a test match of hope. Because if the cricket team can come back from 36 all out and win at the MCG, I can battle COVID. It's given me a lifeline. Everyone in India rallies around this sport. So thoughts on 21, what you want to look at from cricket?
I think more and more cricket, and obviously, as Isha said, and our board is discussing to have this test match. It will be brilliant. The other day, I had a chance of speaking to Mitali. Mitali was also like, we should have some cricket going on, because in pandemic, they hardly played any cricket other than that women's IPL. So I think they are all excited, and it's more about, as we said, lot of men, they've said that they want less number of games because there's too much cricket going on. And for the women's, it is the other way around, as Isha said. So I think every ICC should be looking at it, and hopefully the test matches start. I think that's the best format to play. With that, I hope we start our year the same way, the way we ended our year in Sydney. And
Okay.
one question to Isha.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, the way our team did without our 5 majors. So what would it mean to England? Because next England is going to play India. So what do you think? What kind of message would have gone to them? Because
Good
everybody,
question.
anywhere Indian team travels, it was always Virat Kohli, Ishan Sharma, but now these guys are not there. So apart from them, the team is doing a commendable job. So how do you see that? How do you see the build-up?
Yeah. I know the England players will be watching this series with interest. There's a World Test Championship where it's all bunching up at the top there with New Zealand and England and India and Australia, and who's going to play at Lords in this final in June next year, May, June. So yeah, England don't take any opposition lightly, certainly not India, because they have developed into a world-class team. I mean, they've been number one team in the world. So, but I think what we've all recognised is the depth that they have just through this tour, but also in the last year or so. To know that they didn't have Virat Kohli and were still able to beat one of the best teams in the world, I think that will give them a huge amount of confidence. And I think it's important to remember the impact that Kohli has had alongside Shastri with this group of players, that the wider picture of they want to play Test cricket because it is the best format, and they want to play more games against the best teams in the world, and Virat Kohli has been a driver of that. And it was him that wanted this group of fast bowlers to be able to play in different countries around the world. If you have a strong group of fast bowlers, then you can beat anyone. Add to that a world-class spinner in Ashwin. You've got Kuldeep Yadav coming through, and a set of batters there that are high class: Pujara, Kohli, Rahane. So when you look at their team, you think actually they are world beaters, and knowing that they can win in Australia now, I think it will give them tremendous confidence. It's about being able to win games away from home, such as in England, in South Africa. because it's hard for any touring team to play at the moment. But they are developing themselves into a team that can win away from home. At home, in home conditions, they will be unbelievably hard to beat, and England know that. So that's going to be a tremendous challenge for their team.
Well, you're mute. You're muted. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, yeah. So Rajarshi, final word from you. But before that, I just want to say, Isha, more commentary from you. Be our representative in the commentary box to a degree. More Sports Today shows from you, but more importantly, more success. Pragyan Ojha, you've been an absolute rock star, buddy. From day one on Sports Today, you are Sports Today. So as we go into 2021, I'll take 1 point from Isha, actually. The comeback of crowds gave me such joy. So that's the takeaway from this Australia tour. Rajarshi, your final thoughts, 2020 gone. In the afternoon, we have Shoaib Akhtar talk to us about Jasprit Bumrah. So that's the Sports Today special as we close this year. But your thoughts finally on 2020 leading to 21, as Pragyan said. Let's start with another win in Sydney.
Absolutely. Look, the Adelaide horror, we all called it an aberration and knew it was an aberration. We've talked enough on Sports Today to say that one bad session cost India a game. We wanted to look past it. The Indian team looked past it. Easier said for us. They did it. They had to do it. Like Pragyan and the, they know how things are done, and that's what the Indian team did. A remarkable sensational turnaround at Melbourne. What a way to end the year. It's been, Boria, we've all been discussing, haven't we, how gloomy this year has been. It's been difficult for so many people across sports. A lot of cricket has had to be called off, cancelled. The Olympics had to be called off. Hopefully 2021, I hope to see a lot more cricket. I hope to see the IPL back in India properly played in front of, I know we can't get too ahead of ourselves, but hope to see some sort of crowds for the IPL and hopefully the Olympics. There's a lot to look forward to. And I hope women's cricket gets structured better and we get to see much more of that. So yes, happy beginnings, hopefully.
Lovely, and hopefully we will have a better 21. So Isha, when you come to India during the England tour to commentate, maybe in a studio show where all of us are together, all of us are tested, all of us are vaccinated, in a much better world. But till then, more success, more power, more joy to everybody watching this sport, because ultimately this sport is a lifeline. This sport is a salve for a troubled nation. This sport is an injection of positivity for the whole world, and that's what each of these people, Isha Guha with her voice now, earlier days with her playing, Pragyan Ojha with his playing, and now on the, as part of our commentary team here, Rajarshi Gupta with his writing, try to bring for you. Thank you very much for watching, Isha. Once again, I won't delay you because I know your New Year celebrations, even if it's quiet, are waiting you. So please go for it. Thank you very much once again for watching us on Sports Today and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.